Hi, my name is Joseph Ambrose Christophersen. Chairman, I want to thank you for this opportunity. First, I'm going to touch on my background a little bit, and then I'm going to discuss how this bill is not detrimental to business, how freedom of religion does not apply to this bill, and how being gay is not a choice, and also touch a little bit on public access to restrooms for transgender individuals.
Please be as brief as you can, sir.
I sure will. My name is Joseph Christophersen. I've been in Idaho for 26 years. I was raised as a Christian. My family's Catholic, but I attended Awanas, a Baptist church, and Pentecostal church for a short period. At Boise High, I helped bring Fellowship of Christian Athletes to Idaho in 1989. There was not an existing chapter before that. In 1990 and 1991, I was Fellowship of Christian Athlete of the Year for the state of Idaho. I also attended Boise State University and graduated in 1998 with a bachelor's in communications. While in school, I worked full-time at a national pizza chain that had restaurants all over the Rocky Mountains. I was actually the youngest manager to ever have a restaurant. I was 20 years old when I became the RGM. I was the assistant manager at 19, RGM at 20, and I was also a full-time student at Boise State during this time. My senior year at Boise State, I wrote an ideological rhetorical criticism on what the Bible really says about homosexuality. Because of this, I, like an earlier speaker, was harassed and verbally berated at work in front of my peers. And basically, I was just rumored to be gay at the time. I wasn't even out. I hadn't even acted on my feelings. I was told after 5 years of no dates at our Christmas party, I was told if you don't get a date on the next one, I'd be considered one of those people. And we know what happens to those people. Also, during a role play with about 15 other managers from all over Idaho, Oregon, Montana, I was sitting in a circle, and my boss said, so for instance, we'll pretend that you're the manager and your assistant manager, we'll say his name's Joe, is gay, and his boyfriend comes in and causes a scene in the restaurant. What would you do? So, as 15 managers around the table told me what they would do to basically me, it was devastating. Finally, after 7 years of employment with this establishment, 5 years as the restaurant general manager, with no assistant manager at the time, I went on vacation, helping a friend move up to Alaska. I took him up to the boat north of Seattle to take the ferry. I returned from vacation, and my boss was there at my store, and he said, we need to go outside. I followed him outside, and my boss began to cry. He told me that I was fired. I asked why. I said, I don't understand. I've never had an oral warning. I've never been written up. I've had nothing but stellar reviews. I've always received a bonus and accolades from our CEO, personal letters, notes. He told me my store was lacking intensity while I was on vacation, and that was the reason. The next day, I filed for unemployment and received it without challenge. 6 months later, I was told by an employee of the corporate office that they didn't expect me to come out of the closet, and that they heard I was gay. Basically, I had no repercussions. This was in 1999. There was nothing I could do about it, nothing that I really wanted to do about it because it wasn't even out. I didn't even want to speak about it. I didn't want to tell my family about it. I was ashamed. I had just recently graduated from college in 1998. And after this happened to me, I realized, what do I do when I go for an interview? Do I tell them who I am? or do I need to lie? Do I need to start my working relationship hiding about who I am, about my family, about what I believe in? And I didn't know what to do. I was confused. So basically, when somebody says, in a business, that if they have somebody that's gay working for them, it should be their right to fire them without repercussions if they're doing a bad job. And I think that's true. If they're doing a bad job, then they get an oral warning, a written warning, and then they're fired. I mean, there's steps that are taken. If I was an atheist and I fired a Mormon and he claims he was fired for being a Mormon, then he needs to back up that claim, just like anybody else would. Personally, I don't want to shop somewhere where somebody hates me. I don't want to give my money to a business where they don't want my money either. Recently, yesterday and today, there were 5, 6, maybe 7 cases of the baker, of the wedding planner, of the photographer, of the chapel. They were all cited over and over again, these 5, 6, 7 cases. In 2010, there were 27.9 million businesses in the United States, 27.9 million small businesses, and we have 7 cases that are being cited. That's like 0.00006% of the businesses. Seriously. Even though we disagree with other religions, we still have to abide by the law and to fire somebody not based on religion alone, race, or being a woman, or being gay. We need to add the words sexual orientation and gender identity, and finally cover the people who are being abused, fired, and more prone to suicide. Next, a slippery slope argument about homosexuals. If we add gays and transgender people, what's next? The bald people, fat people, short people, hairy people? This was cited yesterday. No, because they don't get fired or evicted from housing for being bald or hairy unless they have like 10 cats in their apartment. I was fired and could be fired again. If the owner of the business that I work at now changed and they were conservative and didn't like homosexuals, even though I've been with this business for 11 years, I could be fired. If this is about freedom of religion, then I'm going to touch on that a little bit, because in the New Testament, we talk about love. God is love. Jesus is love. There's over 100 verses talking about love. There's 3 verses talking about homosexuality, and 4 if you include a very vague one, Jude 1:7. Now, the problem I have with these verses is these verses were written by Paul. And what was going on when I did my study, basically at this time in Rome, if you look at it culturally, historically, in Rome, homosexuality was rampant. And basically what was happening was men who were married were having sex with boys. They were taking on boy lovers, and they were using boy prostitutes to satisfy their sexual gratification. The word malakoi in Arabic and Hebrew is translated in the New King James Version and the New International Version as homosexuality. But in Hebrew and Arabic, it actually means man-boy rape or boy prostitution. It doesn't mean a loving relationship between 2 men or a loving relationship between two women. It's basically pedophilia or rape, and those are in no ways similar to a loving relationship that's homosexual. If we hold on to these 3 verses to discriminate against people, 3 verses, the Old Testament, Leviticus deals with homosexuality, but also deals with not eating bacon, not eating shellfish, you have to shave your beard, you can't wear clothing with interwoven materials. We don't accept these anymore as being current laws. We accept Jesus' law in the New Testament, not Moses' law in the Old Testament. unless you're of Jewish faith, which I'm not disrespecting that at all, but I'm just discussing the New Testament verses that are used against homosexuality. If we used religion to discriminate against homosexuality as we've used in the past to discriminate against women, blacks, Indians, we've used all New Testament stuff. In Ephesians, it talks about how it's glorious to own slaves. Women should be kept down in the church and not speak out, et cetera, et cetera. Gays seem to be the last bastion that, for some reason, religious organizations want to discriminate against. And actually, it's really transgender people, because gays have come a long way, and I feel safe and accepted in Idaho now more than I did 15 years ago. But I know transgender people, man, it's really tough. I'm glad I'm just gay. That's all I have to say. Religion is no excuse for discrimination. God is love, Jesus is love, Buddha's love, Allah's love. All these religions talk about love. If being a gay was a choice or a lifestyle, I wouldn't have chosen it. It's against everything I stood for and what I thought to be a valuable, worth living life with a family. I was raised a Christian. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have a wife. I wanted to be in love. However, it is biological. God doesn't make mistakes. Sexuality is on a continuum. Gay, straight. Most of us fall in the middle. Have you ever heard of the Kinsey scale? We're not all ones, or we're not all 12s. Being a man or a woman is much more than your sexual organs, and it goes back to love, folks, the religion of love. What about hermaphrodites or intersex people with both sex organs? What are they? Are they gay or are they straight? We all start as a woman in the womb, and our genitals are formed fully to make us either a man or a woman. However, intersex people, 1 in every 1,500 people are intersexed. That's 210,000 people in the U.S. Should they be gay or straight? They have both sexual organs. Apparently, they should be bisexual because they have both. Look, I deserve love and to be loved. I'm not looking to get in a relationship with somebody that doesn't want to be with me. I'm not recruiting, and no, my relationship does not destroy or lessen your straight marriage. As far as public accommodation, I think you should fear me because I'm gay, and I've been going to the men's room for 41 years. All the transgender people I know, when they use the restroom, it's a tough thing. They're embarrassed. Some of them don't even go. We've heard earlier a boy would wait all day at school and hold it until they got home because they didn't want to have to deal with going to the restroom. I'm just going to wrap it up here, folks, because I've gone on for a little bit. In summary, freedom of religion is way too broad. It can be used to discriminate against women, blacks. If you want to use the Bible, if you eat bacon, man, I could fire you. It is not a freedom to discriminate. Passing this amendment would not be detrimental to business. It would just stop people from being fired simply because they are gay. I was fired simply because I was gay. Simply because I was gay. No, being gay is not a choice, nor is it part of my diabolical plan or part of the gay agenda. And no, because I'm gay, I'm not a radical Muslim. And yes, you can choose your religion. I couldn't choose to be gay. I was born this way. I didn't ask for this. Now I accept it because I love myself. I'm just someone who wants to be honest, to have love, and to not be fired for being gay. Please vote yes on HB 2. Add the words sexual orientation and gender identity. No more, no less. Thank you.
Are there questions? Thank you.